depending on the time availability, I will try to discuss answers for a few questions. Okay, this is the outline of the session. Quality assurance, internal quality control, QC of culture media, scale, reagent and equipment, QC of ABST, validation, external quality assessment, quality audit, and question and answering. Okay. As a medical laboratory technologist, what is your aim? As a medical laboratory technologist, what is your aim? To develop or produce a quality report, isn't it? That is your output. What is your input? What is your input? Input is the specimen. In between specimen and report, there is a laboratory process. In that process, there are a lot of steps involved. Tell me what are the steps involved in between specimen input, that is the input, and the report, that is the output. What are the steps involved in the laboratory process? Tell me. Actually, you have to talk, so we will do this as a discussion. Otherwise, it's difficult to conduct the interactive session. Can anybody answer? What are the steps involved in between specimen and the report? What are the factors or steps? Please answer.
Pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical process.
Yes, that process can be divided into 3 parts, as she said, that is correct. What else? Now, when you go into the details?
Patient preparation, sample collection.
Yes, patient preparation, sample collection, sample receipt.
Labeling.
Labeling, the rejection criteria. What else? In the analytical part? In the analytical
Media
part?
preparation, media storage.
Yes, very good. Media preparation. Yes, inoculation. Very good. The quality of your culture media, quality of your equipment. This is very good. Right. So that means there are a lot of factors that influence in the final report. That means quality of the final report. Right. So that factors may be outside the laboratory or maybe inside the laboratory. So especially the outside the laboratory, patient preparation as well as sample collection is very important. Another important thing is sample transport. Transportation is very important. Now, as an example, regarding blood cultures and CSF, if these samples are transported with ice, what will happen? Cold sensitive organism may get died. So that severely affect the quality of your final report, isn't it? That is very important point. So regarding the analytic part or the within the laboratory, sample receiving is also important. In sample receiving, the rejection criteria is also important because you have to accept the suitable sample, right? And then the analysis. In analytical part, a lot of factors involved. Tell me what are the factors involved in analytic part? what are the factors that may affect the final result in analytic part? Can someone tell me? In the analysis,
Sterility.
yes, sterility. What else? Any other answers? The quality of culture media, that is very important. No? Quality of culture media and the equipment, for example, you use incubators. If the temperature of the incubator deviate very severely, what will happen? Your organism may get die. So it's very important. The temperature of the incubator. What else? A lot of factors involved in analytic part. In addition to that, performer skill, that is also important. Even though you are having very good equipments, culture media and all that, if the performance skill is not up to the standard, that also affect your results, isn't it? That means there are a lot of factors influencing your final report. You know that. You are aware of that. Then, to obtain a quality report, what can you do? Tell me. What can you do? Now you know these factors. There may be defects in these factors. There may be errors in these factors. So, to obtain a quality report, what you can do? Tell me. Anybody? Please talk.
Follow the SOP.
Follow the SOP, yes. Very good. Follow the SOP. That activity is to ensure good quality. Yes, what else? Anything else?
We should maintain accuracy, reliability, and timeliness.
Okay. What else? What else? Okay, I will give you example. Now, as I said earlier, during transportation, there may be defects. To overcome that, what can you do? To overcome that, you can prepare a guideline for collection and transportation of clinical specimens in the microbiology laboratory. And then you send these guidelines to the board to minimize that defects. Right? So, what else you can do? Now, for example, sample receiving. In the sample receiving, I told you, you have to receive a good sample. That means you have to have very clear rejection criteria. So, you have to establish a good rejection criteria, clear rejection criteria to minimize the error or defects happening in sample receiving. So, you take another activity. It is another activity to increase your quality, to obtain your quality, right? To ensure your quality. What is? I told you earlier regarding incubator, you daily measure the incubator and you make sure that incubator temperature is up to the standard. That means in between 35 to 37. So that strategy or that activity, why you do that activity? To ensure the quality. Because you know that there may be defects or errors. So you get strategies or you follow activities to minimize those defects and to increase the quality of your report. Is that clear to you? Is that clear? Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Actually, this is quality assurance. This is quality assurance. Now, we have already discussed the quality assurance. So, what is quality assurance? Quality assurance is the sum total of all the activities that are undertaken to ensure generation of reliable and accurate results. This is the quality assurance. Preparation of guideline for specimen collection, measuring incubator temperature. All these activities are taken to ensure generation of reliable and accurate test results. That may be done by the board staff. That activities may be done by the laboratory staff, right? So here it is not mentioned. Quality assurance is the sum total of all activities that are undertaken to ensure generation of reliable and accurate results. Is that clear to you? Now you don't have to by heart if it is asked what is quality assurance. These are the activities. Now we discuss some activities now. So this is quality assurance. In quality assurance, errors are eliminated before they occur. Right? So it's very clear. You think that there may be errors in the incubator, therefore daily you measure the temperature of the incubator. Before it occurs, you eliminate or try to eliminate errors. Quality assurance is process oriented and focuses on error prevention, as I told you. Is that clear to you? Is that clear? What is quality assurance? I think it must be clear to you. Now, this is the first terminology we have learned about. This is the quality assurance. This is the first terminology you learn in this session, quality assurance. Okay, we will move. Component of quality assurance program. The personnel with adequate training and competence, proper specimen collection, storage and transport, use of techniques with high precision and accuracy, that means selecting a method, proper performance of test, efficient processing of result, good quality reagent, calibration and maintenance of equipment, corrective steps when analyzers go out of control, continuous training of staff. As I told you, the performance skill is also important because that influences the quality of the final report. The documentation. The later we will discuss those things in detail. The documentation, timely feedback. What is timely feedback? You have to get the feedback of your user. Right? Maybe consultant, maybe director, right? The feedback. The proper disposal of waste, that is also important because if you don't dispose waste properly, there may be hospital acquired, but that means laboratory acquired infections can occur. The safety procedures and validation is also comes under quality assurance program. Validation, we will discuss what is validation later. Right? So these are the components. Right. Now we come to the second method, internal quality control. The earlier we discussed what is quality assurance, and now we will discuss internal quality control. Set of procedures undertaken by the laboratory staff ensure quality of report. Here it is mentioned, done by whom? Laboratory staff. This is known as internal quality control. Total process beginning with sample collection up to final reporting. So if you prepare guideline for specimen collection, you prepare as a laboratory personnel, you prepare the guideline for specimen collection. That is internal quality control because that is done by the laboratory staff. Is that clear to you? Set of procedures undertaken by the laboratory staff to ensure quality of report. Right? So this is about internal quality control. Internal quality control process that can be done in pre-analytical phase, analytical phase, and post-analytical phase. As I mentioned, guideline for specimen collection and transportation, that is under pre-analytical procedures. Under analytical procedures, there are a lot of activities you can do. And post analytical procedures, reporting and interpretation and dispatching of results. In pre-analytical phase, as I mentioned earlier, correct instructions on specimen collection and transport, specimen receipt and documentation. So when you receive the sample, documentation is very important because you have to record all those specimens in a book. It may be hard copy or later it may be a soft copy. And then here the rejection criteria is also important. You have to establish very clear rejection criteria. This is about pre-analytical phase. And in the analytical procedures, the first of all, you have to select a better method, right? The good method. And then you have to follow the SOP. Then you have to write the SOP. Not only writing, you have to follow the SOP. And then the lot of equipment involved in microbiology laboratory. Therefore, you have to do quality control of equipment. For example, incubator, refrigerator, what else? Balance, what else? Autoclave, right? And then quality control of reagents, chemicals, media, stains, cultures. Then we will describe all those things in detail later. Adequately trained personnel, safe handling of infectious material, and cleaning and sterilization, all those are under analytical procedures. Post-analytical procedure, technical validation, clinical validation, correct interpretation and reporting, correct patient identification, correct timely legible reports, maintaining records for surveillance, notification of infection control if necessary. So these are the post-analytical procedures. Right? So now so far we have discussed about quality assurance and internal quality control. So internal quality control measures can be divided into three parts: pre-analytical process, analytical process, and post-analytical process. Now we come to another term, that is quality control. So quality control. Quality control refers to the appropriate check during the testing procedure and constant monitoring of testing process. Actually, quality control test-oriented. Test-oriented. Focuses on error identification. Now, for example, I will take example. In biochemistry laboratory, you will need the biochemistry analyzer. So the analyzer with the sample, you will run the quality control material, right? During the test-oriented. So why you are doing quality control, why you are applying quality control in biochemistry laboratory, in the biochemistry analyzer, to identification of errors. That's why I told you quality control is test-oriented. It primarily concerns the control of errors in the performance of test and verification of test results. Is that clear to you? But in quality assurance, actually, according to the definition, we concern about what? To prevent errors. To prevent errors before they occur. So quality control we are doing at the same time of test actually. And that is test oriented. For example, okay, now everybody knows catalase test is a simple test. Catalase test. When you are doing catalase test, you need, how many tubes you need? If you want to do a catalase test, how many tubes you need? If you do the tube test, how many? How many tubes? You need 3 tubes. Why? One is positive control, other one is negative control, and other one is for test. When you do the test, you do the quality control. How do you do? You take the control strains as a positive control. What can you take as a positive control for catalase test? What is the organism? These are known as reference cultures. What can you use? Tell me. What can you use as a positive control for catalase test?
Staphylococcus.
Yeah, Staphylococcus, yes. Then for the negative control, Streptococcus. And then first you do the positive control and negative control. If you get the bubble coming in the positive control, okay, that's okay. No bubbles in negative control, okay. Then no problem, you can do the test. So you are, by doing this quality control, using control strains, this is test oriented. While doing the test, you do those quality control measures. Is that clear to you? Is it clear?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so far we have discussed about quality assurance, internal quality control, and quality control. Now we will, so this is the one I told you, already told you about catalase test, right? And in the media quality control also we have to do performance test and sterility test. Performance test and sterility test, right? Okay, later we will discuss about the performance test and sterility test. Okay, now we will discuss the quality control in a microbiology laboratory. Media quality control. So this is very important because we use media to isolate microorganism and what is to identify a microorganism and also for antibiotic sensitivity testing. So therefore, media quality control is very, very important in a microbiology laboratory. In media quality control, actually you have to use unexpired good quality media. If I say brand, actually when you are working in the microbiology laboratory, you know, some brands are not, actually they are not in very good qualities. So you have to use a good quality media. When you are storing this culture media, you have to follow the manufacturer instruction. So most of the government laboratories, they use dehydrated powder to prepare culture media in-house preparation. But the private sector actually mainly rely on commercially available culture media. So when preparing in-house culture media, you have to check the pH value and the depth of the culture medium should be 4 millimeter. And when you prepare culture media, you have to label the culture media with expiry date. Then when you are storing, when you are storing, seal in plastic bag and store prepared media at +4. You have to refrigerate prepared culture media for storage. Commercially prepared media also you have to check pH using pH meters with surface electrode. So actually these steps you have to follow if you prepare culture media in-house in your laboratory. These things you don't have to buy hard because these are very simple steps. Now you know that maybe you are not working in microbiology laboratory, but you can just think and and have some idea. You don't have to buy hard actually. The media quality control, this part. The later I will tell you other part of the media quality control. Right? These things you don't have to buy hard. The depth, remember that is 4 millimeter. Expiry date, it is normally you can remember. You have to make the expiry date. You have to use unexpired good quality media. These are normal things. and you can easily remember. Right. Now, suppose now you have prepared your culture media.
Yeah?
Okay, now suppose you have prepared this culture media. But when preparing your culture media, suppose you take the most of the precautions, you use unexpired media and you use quality distilled water, everything you control. I mean, when you weigh this culture media, you use calibrated balance and everything you have done. But actually you don't know your prepared media are performing well. Actually, you can't give 100% assurance your culture media are in good quality. To check that, you have to do the quality control steps. In that quality control steps, the first one is a physical examination. What do you mean by physical examination? Physical examination? You can just see your plate and open your plate and look for any color change, depth. You can see actually it should be 4 millimeter. Then you can see whether there is any deviation. Hemolysis, sometimes when you take culture plates to inoculate, they get already lice. You can see it with your naked eye hemolysis. There may be excessive bubbling and the contamination may be there. Sometimes when you take culture plates to inoculate, you may see colonies on that. There may be contamination. So one thing is, once you prepare your culture media, you can do physical examination. You can look for these factors. The most important thing is the next one, sterility test. What do you mean by sterility test? What do you mean by sterility test? Once you prepare your culture media, these culture media should be sterile. Otherwise, what will happen? Your culture media, you have to make sure that your batch of culture media prepared, they are sterile before you introduce the clinical specimen onto that. Then this test is known as sterility test. How do you do the sterility test? At least 5 to 10% of prepared plates should be incubated at 35 to 37 for 18 to 24 hours. 5% if a small batch is prepared like 50, and 10% if the large batch is prepared, for example, 100 to 200. Suppose you prepare 100 plates. Then how many plates you have to incubate? 10%? 10 plates. 10 plates. You incubate at 35 to 37 for 18 to 24 hours. If any colonies develop after incubation, the whole batch need to be discarded. This is the theory, right? So if you see the colonies on the culture media that you have incubated in the sterility test, you have to discard the whole batch because you assume that the whole batch has got the contamination. This is about sterility test. Please remember that once you prepare your culture media, in the media quality control, first thing what you have to do is sterility test. That means you take some culture plate out of your lot. That means suppose you have prepared 100 plates, you take 10 plates from the prepared culture media and without inoculating anything, you just keep in the incubator 35 to 37 for 18 to 24 hours. And following day, you look for the colonies. If there is no colonies in any place, that means your sterility test is okay. It is passed. Therefore, you can use that batch of media for the inoculation, maybe for the identification test, maybe for the ABST. Is that clear to you, sterility test? Is it clear? Is it clear, sterility test? Right. Then we move to the performance test. What do you mean by performance test? Performance. So sterility test to check whether they are sterile, whether the culture media are sterile. So, but even though they are sterile, their performance also should be correct. Inaccurate recommended control cultures. Here we need control cultures or reference cultures. Inaccurate reference cultures or prepared culture media and observe for accepted results. Okay, I will explain this performance test. Right? For example, suppose you have prepared SSAGA. So what is, it is a selective medium. So what is the purpose of using selective medium? What is the purpose? It should encourage your desired organism. This is for Salmonella Shigella, right? So it should encourage the desired organism, that is Salmonella, while suppressing the other unwanted organism in stool. Right? Therefore, you have to check whether Salmonella can grow on this medium, whereas E. coli cannot grow on this medium because E. coli is a commensal. Our aim of using selective media is that you must encourage the desired organism while suppressing the other organism. Therefore, what we do is, right? Therefore, what we do, we inoculate Salmonella and E. coli on prepared SSAGA and incubate. Following day, you look for the growth. The plate which has been inoculated with Salmonella should grow, not only should grow, they should appear as black color. Why it is black color? Can somebody tell me why it is black color? Why it is black color? Why it is black color?
Due to produce of H2S.
Yes, very good. Because of H2S production. Yes. Now, this is a one test, right? So if you use, if you have prepared SSAGA, this is how you check the performance. We will take another media, McConkey agar. McConkey agar is a differential medium. Can you remember why it is called differential medium? It can differentiate what from what? McConkey agar?
NLF from LF.
Yes, very good. You can differentiate lactose fermenting organism from non-lactose fermenting organism. So that is the aim of using McConkey. Therefore, you have to inoculate E. coli, which is a lactose fermenting organism, that must give pink color and non-lactose fermenting, as a non-lactose fermenting organism, you can inoculate Proteus mirabilis, which is non-lactose fermenting. It must give yellow color colonies. If you get that appearance, that means pink color for McConkey and yellow color for Proteus. That means the ingredients are working. The performance are okay. Ingredients are working. Is it clear to you? Is it clear? Is that clear? SSA and Macontiga?
Yes, ma'am.
Then we consider blood dagger. So what is the aim of using blood dagger in your laboratory? What is the aim? Blood dagger? There are two
Check
purposes.
for hemolysis.
Yes, check for hemolysis is one. What is the other one?
Supply
grow
as enrichment.
fastidious, yes, to grow fastidious organisms, right? So therefore, we have to inoculate fastidious organism and see whether they can grow in this medium. That is one point. Other one is it should show beta hemolysis and alpha hemolysis clearly. That's why we have to select Streptococcus pyogenes. We inoculate Streptococcus pyogenes. It should show beta hemolysis, right? It should show beta hemolysis. Now here in the picture, you will see beta hemolytic colonies. And the second one is the alpha hemolysis. We inoculate Streptococcus pneumoniae. It should show alpha hemolysis. That means the ingredients of blood dagger is working because it can facilitate the growth of fastidious organism, and as well as they can show the particular hemolysis pattern clearly. Is that clear to you? This is known as performance test. Right? This is known as performance test. Now there is a table, right? Don't by heart this table. Try to remember logically. Now we have discussed blood dagger. Chocolate dagger is also important because we use chocolate dagger for Haemophilus influenzae and Neisseria gonorrhoeae. If your chocolate dagger is prepared correctly, Haemophilus influenzae and Neisseria gonorrhoeae should grow on this medium. Good growth. You have to observe good growth in chocolate dagger. Now SSA I told you. The XLD also the similar scenario. And for example, we say urea agar. Now, why you use urea? Urea, but can you remember? This is to detect what? Urease activity. This is to detect urease activity. And here you have to inoculate Proteus mirabilis and Shigella. Not only Proteus. Why? The Proteus mirabilis should show red color. The Shigella, that is urease negative, no? So that should show yellow color. You have to check both, right? You have to check both. So in case of KIA, now once you prepare KIA, pig lion agar, you have to check different patterns. For example, in Salmonella, K by A with H2S. So you inoculate Salmonella typhimurium. And also you have to inoculate Pseudomonas. So what is the reaction given by the Pseudomonas in KIA? K by unchanged. Can you remember? K by unchanged. So depending on the culture media, you have to select what are the control organism or the reference organism to inoculate. So this is known as performance test. This is known as performance test. So remember that once you prepare culture media, you have to do sterility test and performance test. Is that clear to you? Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay, we will move. Quality control of stains. Use unexpired good quality chemicals to prepare stains. And you have to label, once you prepare, you have to label them and store in the appropriate conditions. For example, if you use strong carbofuchsin for AFP, the filtering is very important. Then once you prepare, you have to check whether these stains are working properly using control strains. Using control stains. For example, the gram stain. So gram stain is widely used in every microbiology laboratory, gram stain. And also gram stain is a very important stain. And how do you check once you prepare, how do you check the quality of gram stain? How do you check? Can anybody explain? How do you check this? Gram stain in your hospital laboratories, what do you do once you prepare gram stain in your hospital? Can anyone explain? Yes.
Yes,
Can
control
anyone?
sample, gram positive and negative
Yes.
strains.
Yes. Yes. Very good. So this is what you do. Sorry. This is what you do. Now you take a slide and divide into two, and you prepare two smears, one from Staphylococcus aureus. You can use ATCC 25923. This is a control strains, and you can use E. coli as the negative. We can't say negative control. This is negative, and the Escherichia coli ATCC 25922. And you prepare smears on the same slide, and then you do the staining using the newly prepared stain. And then you examine under the microscope. You must get purple color or blue color in Staphylococcus aureus slide, and negative, that means the pink color or red color for the Escherichia coli. So if you get like this, as you see in the picture, that means your gram stain is working, right? Your gram stain is working. Similar way, you can check other stains as well. Depending on the stain, the organism you have to use is different. You have to decide according to that, right? That this is you can apply this for other stains as well, but control cultures may be different. Quality control in reagent, right? So in the hospitals, actually, you may be preparing a reagent for identification test. As example, use unexpired quality, good quality chemicals to prepare reagent. Label them and store in appropriate condition. Check the quality of prepared reagent by conducting tests using control stains, similar to the previous one. For example, you have prepared indole test. Can you remember indole test? Coax reagent, indole test reagent, coax reagent, right? Once you prepare it, what can you do? You have to check its quality. You have to check its quality, no? Right. Then how do you do that? What is the medium you can use to do indole test? What is the medium? Can anyone remember? What's the medium? Anyone?
McConkey?
No. For the indole test, you have to use the broth culture, no? Liquid medium you have to use for the indole test.
2 dinitrophenoyl amino benzaldehyde.
That is the chemical. That is the chemical.
Glucose, fructose, peptone note.
Yeah, you can use
Using
peptone
digest
water.
broth.
Yes, just peptone water you can use, right? Because it should contain amino acid. That's why. Peptone water you can use. Then you take 2 tubes and you inoculate E. coli into that, and also you can inoculate Enterobacter aerogenes into the other one, and then you incubate, and then you add coax reagent. You overlay coax reagent. So the tube which is inoculated with E. coli should give positive reaction. So you will see the red color ring. Can you see? The positive one. The other one is the negative. Enterobacter aerogenes, that is negative, and the ring is appear as yellowish color, right? So this is about indoor testing. So depending on the test, the culture media you are using and the reagent you add and the control organism you are using may be different. But the theory is same. Right? Is that clear? I think it's clear to you. Right. So we discuss about the quality control of media, quality control of reagent, and quality control of stains. Now we come to the quality control in commonly used test. Earlier also I told you. When performing identification tests include non-positive control for positive reaction and control organism for negative reaction. Right? Now, the catalase one I have already discussed with you. What about coagulase? For the coagulase, positive control is Staphylococcus aureus and negative control Staphylococcus epidermidis. And for indole, as I mentioned earlier, E. coli and Enterobacter. For oxidase, now in the microbiology laboratory, you have to perform oxidase very frequently. So here the positive and negative control is very, very important in oxidase. For the positive control, you can use Pseudomonas. As the negative control, you can use Shigella. Right? The bacitracin sensitivity test, sometimes you may be performing bacitracin sensitivity test. Why you have to do bacitracin sensitivity test? For which organism? Bacitracin sensitivity test for what? To identify what? Can anyone? Yes, group A streptococci. Yes. To identify group A streptococci. So, right? And as a negative control, as a negative one. Actually, we can't say negative control. When you inoculate group A streptococci, there should be a zone of inhibition. Any zone of inhibition is taken as sensitive and then it is group A streptococci. For Enterococcus faecalis, no any zone of inhibition. So this is when you are doing bacitracin test for your isolated organism, you have to do it with the group A streptococci as the control and the Enterococcus faecalis as the negative result. Optogen sensitivity test. Why you do optogen sensitivity test? To differentiate Streptococcus pneumoniae from Viridian streptococci. There also you have to see the inhibition zone. If it is more than 15, that is sensitive, and if it is less than 9, that is resistant. So the Viridian streptococci, that is resistant. Streptococcus pneumoniae sensitive, right? While doing your test organism, while doing optogen sensitivity test for your isolates. Isolates may be isolated from your specimen, right? Same time, you are doing optogen sensitivity test using Streptococcus pneumoniae and Viridian streptococci as the quality control. Is it clear to you? Is it clear? I think it must be clear to you. Is QC procedures for commonly used test. Okay. Then we come to the equipment quality control. You must ensure that all the equipment involved in microbiological procedure are working properly. You have to make sure that your equipments are working properly. The equipment must be, calibration must be there, cleaning, operating, and monitoring should be there. Servicing and maintenance should be done periodically and should maintain recordings. Even though you are doing these things, if you don't have recording, no point of doing that. So please, you have to have records regarding the equipment calibration, cleaning, and monitoring. So this is how you can do the equipment quality control regarding commonly used equipment. For the refrigerators, actually refrigerator is very important in your microbiology laboratory because you are storing your day-to-day antibiotics, day-to-day use antibiotics in the refrigerator, your control strains you are using, you store in the refrigerator. Culture media you store in the refrigerator. Therefore, daily you have to measure the temperature of the refrigerator. It should be in between 2 to 8. The freezers also same. Incubator is also important. I told you daily you have to measure the temperature of the incubator and record. Recording is also very, very important. If you use water bath for any identification test, daily you have to measure the temperature and record it. And autoclave is very, very important equipment in your microbiology laboratory. Therefore, you have to do the efficiency testing of autoclave. Whether you have to check whether autoclave is working properly. The most recommended method is strip method, spore strip method. So, what is the organism which is in the spore strip? Bacillus stereothermophilus. Right? At least weekly, you have to do the efficiency testing of autoclave. Right? What is the result? When you culture, there should be no growth. Right? And you know how to do it. So in anaerobic jar, if you are using anaerobic organism, methylene blue indicator strip you can use. Methylene blue is a dye actually, it's a dye. With oxygen, it is blue color, right? Without oxygen, that is colorless. In the anaerobic jar, inside the anaerobic jar, there should be without oxygen, isn't it? Right? Without oxygen. So without oxygen, what is the color of methylene blue? Colorless. Right? Because when you see methylene blue in the outside, so that is with oxygen, that's why it is in blue color. So these are some information regarding the quality control of equipment. You don't have to buy heart actually these things. You don't have to buy heart. You just try to remember. Right. Then the quality control procedure in ABST. In the ABST, what is the if you are using CLSI method for non-fastidious organism, what is the culture medium you use? What is the culture medium you use? For non-fastidious organism in CLSI method? What?
Muller Hilton Ega, ma'am.
Muller-Hinton, yes. So Muller-Hinton EGA. So when you are preparing Muller-Hinton EGA, the same procedure you have to apply. Now we have already discussed about media quality control. Now, same thing you have to apply. So you have to use the Muller-Hinton. Depth should be 4 millimeter. You have to use the autoclave with the efficiency testing. And the same thing you have to apply when you are preparing Muller-Hinton. Right? And then what about the disc? What about the disc? What can you say about the disc? What are the quality control measures you can take to ensure good quality result in antibiotic sensitivity testing? In addition to culture media, the same thing you have to apply for this also, right? We have already discussed now about the media quality control. Then what about the antibiotics? What can you say? The antibiotics, the stock should be stored in where? What is the temperature? -20. But day-to-day usage, you can keep in the refrigerator. You have to use the unexpired disk, and the potency should be the recommended one by the CLSI. Right? So these things you have to know. Right? Then standard reference strains of bacteria are tested in parallel with the clinical culture. It should be done daily or weekly. In addition, every time that a new batch of Muller Hinton agar or new batch of whisk is used. So I will tell you how to do it. When you are doing the test, when you are doing the antibiotic sensitivity testing for test organism, for example, if you have isolated Shigella from stool culture, then you have to do antibiotic sensitivity testing for that. While doing antibiotic sensitivity testing, you have to do the quality controls as well. Then how to do this quality control? Selection of strains for quality control. You have to use the particular reference organism. For example, for gram-negative non-fastidious organism, you have to use E. coli ATCC 25922. Then in the example, I told you about Shigella. So what is the control culture you have to use for Shigella if your test organism is Shigella? What is the control strains you have to use to do the quality control? Tell me. Anyone? Anyone? Escherichia coli is for gram-negative organism. Pseudomonas aeruginosa for Pseudomonas. Staphylococcus aureus for gram-positive organism. Haemophilus influenzae for Haemophilus influenzae. Enterococcus faecalis for Enterococcus faecalis. So these are the control strains which should be used to do the quality control in antibiotic sensitivity testing when you do CLSI method. So in the then you have to do the antibiotic sensitivity testing for Shigella. But you don't know whether your discs are working, these potencies are okay, your your inoculum is also okay, but you don't know. To check that, you have to use the control strains. So what is the control strains you have to use for Shigella? Tell me.
Escherichia coli ATCC.
Yes, ATCC E. coli you have to use. I will tell you how to do it. Perform antibiotic sensitivity testing on above control cultures using the antibiotics used in test. That means, for example, to do the antibiotic sensitivity testing for Shigella, you use ciprofloxacin, nalidixib, and ampicillin. Suppose you use these three antibiotics to do the antibiotic sensitivity testing for Shigella that you have isolated from stool culture. Similar way, you inoculate your ATCC E. coli culture on a separate Muller-Hinton plate and you apply the same antibiotics into that. Can you remember three antibiotics I told you? Cipro, Nali, ampicillin. Same antibiotics you use for the test, you apply for the control. Similar
Excuse
way
me,
you, sorry,
can't we use Shigella species ATCC culture?
Shigella, sorry.
Shigella species ATCC cultures like Shigella sonnet 29531 and Shigella flexneri.
Do you have the Shigella ATCC cultures in your lab?
No, I don't have. I asked,
Right.
can we?
No, you can't because this is recommended by the CLSI and CLSI control charts give the inhibition zone for ATCC E. coli, right? For this purpose. So you can't use. Then you use the same procedure for control cultures as well. You measure the inhibition zone sizes and refer the CLSI QC chart. So I will show you CLSI QC chart. Right. So this is the CLSI QC chart. And you can see Escherichia coli ATCC 25922. This is for quality control. So if you use nalidixic acid, the strength of the disc should be 30 micrograms and the recommended range is 22 to 28. Right? This is the chart you have to refer. Depending on the disc that you put and depending on the organism. Depending on the organism, you have to select the control strengths. In case of Shigella, that is gram-negative. So therefore, you use the Escherichia coli ATCC control culture. So then you refer the charts according to that. Do you understand? Right? Perform the antibody sensitivity testing on above control cultures using the antibodies used in the test. Measure the inhibition zone sizes. Refer the CLSI QC chart is given by the CLSI. Note if the inhibition zone is within the accepted limit or not. Right? And then you have to record. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I suppose now you can hear me. Can you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Ah, okay. Then note if the inhibition zone is within the accepted limit or not. And then you have to record it. If it is not within the accepted range, can you release the results of the test? There is an error, no? There is an error. Then you have to take the preventive measures. And you have to find out why this happened. Why you are doing quality control? To check whether your performance are correct. But here, if your range is not within the accepted range, you have to think about what is the error and you have to find out the error and you have to take the preventive measures. This is about quality controlling antibiotic sensitivity testing. Okay, as an example, I told you, Shigella is isolated from stool culture. ABST done on Shigella by using nalidixic acid, ampicillin, and ciprofloxacin. Right? So, for quality control, you use E. coli. You take another Muller-Hinton plate. You take another Muller-Hinton plate and inoculate Escherichia coli on that. Similar way you did for the test. And apply the same disc, same type of disc, nalidixic acid, ampicillin, and ciprofloxacin. And then you incubate both plates. And after incubation, you measure the inhibition zone of the quality control plate and refer the chart which is given by the CLSI. You have to refer the chart given by the CLSI as follows. So as an example, these are the antibiotics that you have put and accepted inhibition zone size given by the CLSI, for example, for nalidixic, it is 22 to 28. But we have got 25. Is it okay? Yes. But when you measure the inhibition zones in the QC strain, we got 25. That is within the accepted range. Therefore, it is okay. Then when you get CIPRO, that is 30, we have got 30, that is in between 27 to 33. So it is also within the accepted range. Then the ampicillin, we have got 18 for the control strain, and then accepted range is in between 16 to 22. That is also within the range, and now it is okay, right? So quality, here we are doing the quality control is to check whether your performances are correct. That means when you get the accepted range, that means your procedures are correct, your antibiotics are working, your depth of the medium is also correct, right? So everything is perfect. So this is quality control in antibiotic sensitivity testing. Give me 1 minute to change my battery. Okay, is this clear to you? Is this clear? Actually, antibiotic sensitivity testing is another big topic, but I included that as the completion of this topic, right? I suppose it is clear to you. For example, if we have isolated Staphylococcus aureus from a wound swab, what is the control culture you have to use to do the quality control? What is the control strains you have to use? Tell me.
Staphylococcus aureus.
Yes, the same as it is similar to your test. Right? The same procedure you have to do for the control strains. You take in the plate and you inoculate the Staphylococcus aureus, ATCC, Staphylococcus aureus in the same way, and then you apply the disc which has been used for the test, similar antibiotics, and incubate, and following day you measure the inhibition zone, and then you compare it with the QC chart which is given by the CLSI method. Right? So if it is within the range, your QC is passed. So this is about quality control of ABST. Right? So this slide I showed you. Now here you can see distribution quality control ranges. Now can you read this? Distribution quality control ranges for non-fastidious organism. For the Escherichia coli, for different antibiotics, they are given the accepted range. For ampicillin, for example, can you see what is the accepted range for E. coli? Is there. There is a circle around that.
16 to 22.
Yes, depending on your control cultures, you have to read it. Right? Okay, now we come to another word that is validation. That is called validation. Have you heard validation in your laboratories? Validation? Have you heard? Validation. You must have heard about validation. Validation is the part of the quality assurance system that evaluates in advance the steps involved in operational procedures or product preparation to ensure quality, effectiveness, and reliability. For example, I will take an example and explain. You may receive test kits. For example, streptococcal grouping kit. Are you using streptococcal grouping kit in your laboratories? Are you using?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now you have received a test kit for streptococcal grouping. But the company says this is very good and these are working nicely. But how do we know that whether this test kit's working properly? Therefore, before we use it, we have to validate it. The term is validate. How do you validate this streptococcal grouping kit? Can somebody tell me? How can you validate this? How can you validate streptococcal grouping kit? Now you have received a new kit. How can you validate? Can someone?
Grouping can done non-streptococcal
Yes,
grouping.
very good. Yes, very good. The grouping can be done using non-streptococcal species. For example, group A streptococci, group B streptococci, right? Non-control strains you can use. And you use these control strains and you check the Landsfield group using the new kit. For group A streptococci, if you get Landsfield group A, when you use group B streptococci, after doing the test using the new test kits, when you get it as a Landsfield group in B, that means that is working. And not only for test kits, the reagent, equipment, software. When you receive new reagent, equipment, and software, you have to do the validation. Now, depending on the reagent or equipment, the type of equipment, the procedure is different. And actually, no point of doing validation if you don't keep your recording. So it is very important when you receive a new test kit or reagent, you have to have a new file and you do the validation and record the results of validation. And when you have done validation, this is very important to have records regarding validation. The validation is applied to SOP, reagent, equipment, test kits, and software. Right? That means before you use them for the routine practice, you have to check whether these test kits, equipment, software are working properly. This is known as validation. Is that clear to you about validation? Is that clear? Is that clear? Validation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we come to the reporting and interpretation of results. And we have discussed the analytical part, actually, the quality control analytical part. And then the reporting and interpretation results only by the authorized members of staff with appropriate qualification. Technical validation should be there, and the clinical validation. And you may need clinical data for decision making in the laboratory. So this is about the reporting and interpretation. Then we come to the laboratory document. The laboratory documentation is very, very important part in quality system. What are the documents you use in the your laboratory? Tell me, what are the documents you use in your laboratory? All those are documentation, part of documentation in the laboratory. What are the documents you use? Tell me. The slide is here, but now in your hospital laboratories, what are the documents you use? What are the documents? Can someone tell me? SOPs, do you use SOPs in your laboratory? And the procedure manuals, manual for different test procedures, you may be having. Equipment manual, when you receive a equipment, there is a manual. What is? Sample receiving records. Do you have a sample receiving book? You must have. What is? Test results. Do you record your test results before releasing it? Do you record? Yes. So these are the documentation. Media and reagent preparation log with QC check. Now when you prepare media, you must enter, after preparing, you do the quality control of performance test and that sterility test. So then you have to have that in your record. Equipment maintenance and calibration record. You have to have these records once you do equipment maintenance and calibration. What are the other records or the documents you are having in your hospital? Incident and accident records. When there is an accident, you have to record in a book. Record of qualification of staff and training. I don't know whether you are having that in your laboratory, but those who have got accreditation, it must be there. Record of qualification of staff and training. What are the training they have taken? So that this is very important document in your laboratory. Record of validation of equipment, reagent and test kits. I told you when you receive new test kits, equipment and reagent, you have to validate it and record it, and you have to maintain these records. These are documents. Safety manual. There should be a safety manual in your laboratory. Record of EQA and audit. The later, as the next topic, we will discuss what is EQA and audit. You have to maintain those records as well. Report forms, worksheets, and finally the quality manual. Actually, quality manual is a very big document. Everything is included in the quality manual. Those who have taken the accreditation, there is a quality manual. Right? So this is about documentation. Laboratory documentation, actually you don't have to buy hard. You think what are the documents which are available in your hospital laboratory. Don't buy hard these slides, isn't it? This documentation is very important. Right? Is that clear to you? Right. Importance of documentation in laboratory practice. Ensure everyone is doing the same thing. Consistency. Because anytime you can refer the document. For example, SOP. If you are absent on that day, the other MLTs has to do your test. So SOP is there. So that person also do the same. Right? Consistency. Provide evidences if there is any query. If there is any problem, you have evidences to fight against or show your things. Helps to trace. For example, if you want to trace a report, right, which has been already released, so you can trace that because you have record. So there are advantages of the laboratory documentation. And laboratory safety. Document and practice laboratory safety policies and procedures. Actually, there should be a document regarding laboratory safety. For example, how you discard your infectious material and how to wash infectious material, reusable infectious material, and how do you clean the spillage and how do you manage the spillage and accidents. So everything should be written in the document, that is the safety manual actually, safety manual. The safety manual should be there in the hospital laboratory. All these comes under quality assurance. Right. Now we have come to another part. Now so far we have discussed about how do you ensure the reliable and accurate test results? By doing quality assurance, by doing internal quality control, by doing quality control, media quality control, what else? Equipment quality control, validation, and everything. These activities you have taken to ensure reliable and accurate test results. What is quality assessment? Can someone tell me what is quality assessment? Can someone tell me quality assessment?
Overall procedure for the checking the quality control.
Yes, they check in the quality assessment. You know what is the meaning of assessment? You are familiar with the term assessment. Something like evaluation, right? They evaluate whether we have done internal quality control and quality control steps correctly. They evaluate us. The assessment is that they evaluate our quality. They assess our quality. This assessment can be done external and internal. It could be external and internal. What do you mean by external? Can someone tell me external? The assessment is evaluation. Our quality can be evaluated by external means what? External means our quality is assessed by outside
External party.
organization. Outside organization. Internal means internal by
Within the laboratory.
within the laboratory. Yes, very good. Within the laboratory. The
HK report එක ආවේ නෑනේ.
quality assessment can be external or internal.
අනිත් ඔතන H1 H2 side එකක් තියෙනවා.
First, we will go to the external quality assessment. External quality assessment. What is external quality assessment? This is important. External quality assessment. EQA is a system of objectively assessing laboratory performances by a organizing laboratory. You don't have to by heart, just logically understand EQA is a system of objectively assessing. They can't just assess you. Objectively assessing laboratory performances by a organizing laboratory. Actually, there are two types of laboratories involved. Organizing laboratory and participating laboratory. Who are us? We are the participating laboratory. Who is the organizing laboratory? Who is the organizing laboratory?
External laboratory.
EQA?
Reference laboratory.
Yeah. What is that reference laboratory? In our
MRI.
system?
MRI.
Yes, MRI, yes. That is the organizing laboratory. We are the participating laboratory, right? EQA organizer provides identical material which will be tested by all participating laboratories. There are a lot of members now, right? There are a lot of members, there are a lot of participating laboratories. So, EQA organizer, that means MRI, provide identical material. They provide material. Actually, they assess our performances by providing a material. Right? Example, MRI send organism to participating laboratories which should be identified by routine identification test. Then the participating laboratories send results to the organizing laboratory. In the organizing laboratory, they will analyze that and send the report to us. Send the report to participating laboratories. It is periodically done. What is periodically? In microbiology laboratories, how many times you have to do per year? How many times? 3 or 4? How many times you do? Those who are working in microbiology? How many times? Okay, it is periodically done. Periodically, you know what is the meaning of periodically? Feedback is given by the external organizer. For example, organizing laboratory will send a isolate. Will send a isolate, saying that as example, this organism is isolated from blood culture. We will receive an isolate of organism. They will send the scenario, they will tell the scenario, this organism is isolated from, as example, right? This organism is isolated from blood culture. Identify the organism, right? And then you have to isolate the organism there and identify the organism as routine testing. As routine testing, it's very important. Then what do you do? After identification, you have to send the result to the organizing laboratory and they will analyze your report, isn't it? They will analyze and they will give you a report. At the end of the year also, they will give you a summary. Right. Now tell me, what are the advantages of EQA? EQA are organized to achieve following objectives. In the definition I told you, objectively assess. In the definition I told you, objectively assess. Monitor laboratory performances and evaluation of quality control measures. Actually, they evaluate our internal quality control measures. What are the measures we take in the laboratory to ensure the accurate and reliable test results? These measures we will check. Monitor laboratory performance and evaluation of quality control measures. Establish inter-laboratory comparability. So that is the thing you have to remember. Because there may be a lot of participating laboratory, they give the same identical material to those laboratories. Therefore, the comparison can be done. Influence reliability of future testing. And the most important thing is ensure credibility of the laboratory. Right? So it gives the credibility of the laboratory if the your performance are correct. Stimulate performance improvement and promote high standard of good laboratory practice. These are the objective of EQA program. And now we will see what are the advantage of EQA, that the benefit of EQA, that is you have to, I think it's better to remember. So as I mentioned earlier, help laboratories in comparing their results with other laboratories. Comparability is there, that is important, and you can remember it without by heart. Act as an educational stimulus to laboratory staff. So there may be competition, right? There may be competition, therefore, they act as an educational stimulus. The members of the laboratory may think that, yes, we have to do it correctly, and there may be educational stimulus. Participation provides credibility to the laboratory. That is also a benefit. credibility to the laboratory. So that point you can remember. The health administrators to get an idea on quality conditions across the country. I think most of the almost all the microbiology laboratory are participating in EQA program. Therefore, the health administrators can have idea about the quality conditions. So, enabling them to identify problems and advise methodology to overcome the issues. So, if your results are not up to the standard, and they will, you can have a methodology to overcome the issues. Right? So you can correct those errors and you can find out what happened, and then you can have solution to that to improve your quality. So this is about external quality assessment. The proficiency testing is also the same term for external quality assessment. So is that clear to you, external quality assessment? Why it is known as external quality assessment? External means it is conducted by the outside organization or the organizing laboratory. So, is it clear? Not only in microbiology, the biochemistry and other disciplines also EQA is there. Anything else you want to ask regarding EQA? EQA, is that clear? Okay, now just to have a slide of the comparison. And internal quality control, the difference between internal quality control and EQA. Internal quality control, concurrent and continuous. Concurrent means while doing the test, while we are engaged in the test. Continuous. If you do quality control today, you can't say, no, tomorrow I don't have to do. Right? No, it is continuous. It's a continuous process. But EQA, periodic. It is periodic. Daily you don't do EQA now. Right? Internal quality control performed by laboratory staff. EQA by independent agency. Independent agency, outside agency. Objective of IQC, internal quality control, release of reliable results on day-to-day basis. Release of reliable results on day-to-day basis. It ensure inter-laboratory comparability and improve performances. These are the difference between internal quality control and EQA. I think now you must understand what is EQA. You don't have to actually by heart to logically try to remember what is EQA, what is happening in EQA. Sometimes you may not be able to write the same word if it is asked what is EQA. But anyway, as you understand, you can explain. Right. So I think it is clear to you about external quality assessment. As I mentioned, internal quality assessment. As someone said, internal means what? Internal quality assessment is similar to the EQAs, but material is prepared, distributed, evaluated, result assessed internally. The specimen is slipped in the laboratory. One half is processed as the patient specimen, one half by the same protocol as a non-IQA sample. So then after processing these two, you can see whether there is any discrepancies. If there is any discrepancies are observed, you have to record it and you have to analyze it. Actually, analysis should be done by senior professional in consultation with quality manager. Right? If you have quality manager can do that. This is about internal quality assessment. Is that clear? External quality assessment and internal quality assessment. Is it clear to you? The sample is split into two. One half is processed as the patient sample. You have to give a report for the patient sample. The other half is processed as a IQA sample. So you have to see the discrepancies. For example, if you isolate the same organism and if you identify the same organism, then no problem. This is about internal quality assessment. Now, it's in the term. Maybe it may be new to some ones. Right. Quality audits. What do you mean by audits? Any idea? Audit. We know. Audit, we know. Do you know quality audit? Any idea? Quality audit? Quality audit is the process of systematic examination of quality system carried out by an internal or external quality auditor or audit team. What is the meaning of that? Audit team, the group of people. They are not just a group of people having expert knowledge in this particular field. Right? The group of people come and examine. They don't just examine, systematic examination of quality system carried out by an internal or external group. That means a group of people, expert people come and see your process, quality process. How you process sample, how you do the quality control, do you follow the SOPs? Even though you have the SOP, sometimes you are not following it. Do you follow the SOPs? They will ask questions from you. They will give you a questionnaire, and they will ask any question regarding quality system. They will use checklist to check the quality system, right? Examination. They don't give material as what? As what? In external quality assessment, they don't come to your laboratory. They send only a what? Specimen or the isolate. But in audit, the group of people, they come to your laboratory and examine your quality process. It is a systematic examination. It's a systematic examination, right? That quality audit may be internal or external. Internal or external. What do you mean by that? Internal means the own people in the laboratory. External means outside the people from the outside the laboratory. Internal quality audit. Internal audits are performed by laboratory staff to inspect their own system. You also can do it. But there should be a trained professionals in audit techniques. Actually, just ordinary people can't do that. In your laboratory, if you have a trained person on these audit techniques and the examination of quality system, and then you can do it. All laboratory process is examined with checklist. They will bring the checklist. According to the checklist, they will mark. They can't just do it. They will observe test procedures while doing the test. They will ask you to do the test and they will examine. Sometimes they will examine whether you are following the SOPs. whether you are following the steps in SOP. They may check. Questions are asked from staff members. They can ask questions from the staff members. This is the quality audit. This quality audit may be internal or external. Right? This is internal quality audit. The people from the same institute. This is internal. And now we go to the right, still the internal audit should be well structured and conducted by well-trained auditors. Ordinary people can't do it, as I said earlier. Use following methods for internal audit. Interviewing staff with open-ended questions. They will
නෙමෙයි මේක මේ මම ඉන්නේ ෆෝන් ඔෆ් කරලා.
ඔය කට්ටියන්ට මයික් එකක් කරන්න.
ෆෝන්
Use following methods. Interviewing staff with open-ended questions. Review laboratory records. They will review laboratory records. Documentation, they will review. Observe laboratory operations to ensure practice matches within policies. They will examine biosafety measures, how you discard your waste, right? Cleaning procedure, everything can be examined. This is about internal audit. Now we move to the external audit. External audit. What is external audit? It is similar to the internal audit. It is similar to the internal audit, but a group of people, it is approved procedure by which regulatory or authorized body accord formal recognition to laboratory to undertake a specific task. As example, accreditation. Actually, accreditation is the external audit. You all know about accreditation. So, what is the accreditation for, especially for medical laboratories? ISO 15189. So, actually, in accreditation, same thing happens. They will examine your quality system. They will give you authority. They will give you authority to perform specific tasks. This is known as accreditation. Right? This is known as accreditation. Right? Actually, accreditation is a very vast topic. I just told you this is an example for external audit. This is an example for external audit. External means the outside organization involved. This is the summary of quality assessment. Summary of quality assessment. Summary of quality assessment. So in the assessment, quality assessment, that may be man or material driven. Material driven, can you remember? Material driven means what? That means they give you a material. They check your performance by giving a material. Maybe a hematological sample, maybe a biochemical sample, maybe an isolate, maybe an organism. They give a material. As example, external quality assessment done by the MRI. This is material driven. So material driven also may be internal or external. External is the external quality assessment. Internally also that can be done. As I mentioned earlier, the sample is split into two. One is processed as a normal patient sample and other half is processed as a quality sample. Man-driven is the audit. Here, a group of people, specialized people with having expert knowledge in this, they are coming to your laboratory, right? They are coming to your laboratory and inspect and observe your quality system. This is known as man-driven. The group of people come to you, right? Group of people come to you, right? So, okay, now we come to the, give me 1 minute. Yeah, so the end of the session, right? If you have a time, so I just go through a few questions if you have time. Mr. Bogada, can we continue to answer this?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Right. First, we will go to the first question. You are working as a MLT at the bacteriology laboratory. What steps would you take to ensure quality of report? You are working as the MLT at bacteriology laboratory. And what steps would you take to ensure quality of your report? What action would you take? Actually, in this question, they are asking quality assurance. Quality assurance is very broad, as I told you, that include actually quality control steps as well. So, when you answer this question, so it is better you divide your answer, organize your answer into 3 parts. What are those 3 parts? What are those 3 parts?
Pre-analytical, analytical, and
Yes,
post-analytical.
yes, very good. Pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical. Then, then you can imagine and you can elaborate your answers, right? Because you all are having very vast experiences in the laboratory as a inmate. Therefore, to think about pre-analytical phase, what are the action you can take to ensure the quality of your result? What are those? What are those activities in the pre-analytical? Proper sample collection is important. For that, what you can do? You can prepare guidelines for specimen collection and transportation. Yes. When receiving specimen, rejection criteria is very important. When receiving sample, you have to have record, right? You have to have record and record keeping in the sample receipt. And then the testing procedure. Now we come to the analytical phase. And the testing procedure, what can we do to ensure the quality of your result? You can prepare SOPs and you can follow the SOPs. What is? You can increase your competencies by participating continuous professional development program or obtaining training. Right? What else? What else? In the analytical part, you may have to do media quality control in microbiology. So it's very important. So you have to use unexpired high quality culture media and pH. You have to measure the pH, labeling of culture media, how you use storage in a proper way. And then you have to do the physical examination in terms of prepared media, sterility test and performance test. And then you have to think about the equipment quality control, because many equipments are used in microbiology laboratory that may affect the quality. Therefore, how do you increase the quality? Calibration of balance, the temperature recording of the incubator, efficiency testing of autoclave. The autoclave should be function properly, and temperature record of refrigerators. Now, in the equipment quality control, you think about what are the equipment we are using in the microbiology laboratory and how you do the quality control in those equipments, right? Don't by heart, but logically you can think. Okay, now the QC of reagent and stains. I told you how you do the quality control in reagent, how do you do the quality control in stains using the reference cultures. And then when doing identification test also, you have to use reference control cultures to do the quality control. And then the quality control in antibiotic sensitivity testing. Can you remember? You can elaborate on that. And then the after performing the test, technical and clinical validation, that is a post-analytical, and reporting and dispatching. What action would you take in reporting and dispatching? And then the laboratory documentation, when the sample received to dispatching of report. So everything you can write, documentation. Participate in EQA program, that is also important, because you have to participate in EQA program to see whether your performance are in appropriate way, and participate in quality audit. So these are the factors. So without by hearting, I think you can elaborate these points as an answer. Okay, I think it is clear to you. I'll just move to the other one. Actually, this is a past paper question, I think. What is external quality assessment? External quality assessment is a system of objectively assessing. That term should be
Recording in
I'm repeating
progress.
those things. Ensure credibility to the laboratory. It brings a credibility, because our results are, you can say our results are correct, right? So ensure the credibility to the laboratory. Then right. Explain the role of lab supervisor in managing EQA program. Now, can you answer this question? The part of the same question. Explain the role of lab supervisor in managing EQA program. Can someone give the answer to this? Here you think. Logically you think. As the manager, what is the role in EQA program? Can someone explain? Can someone? Can anyone explain? Hurry up. You have to think. Can anyone explain? Okay, find out the answer for this, sir. Find out the answer. So we go to another question. How would you adapt internal quality control program to your laboratory? How would you adapt internal quality control program to your laboratory? What is internal quality control program? What is internal quality control program? What is that?
Within
Can you
laboratory.
remember? Can you remember? What is internal
Within
quality
the
control?
laboratory.
Yeah, whatever the activities you have done in the laboratory to ensure the quality report. That answer also you can divide into 3 parts: pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical. And you can, yes, I will give you the presentation. I will give you. Right. Analytical phase and post-analytical phase. In addition to that, you have to mention about the laboratory documentation. Laboratory documentation, participate in EQA, participate in audit. In addition to that, you can write, in addition to what I have written, safety protocol, we have to follow the safety protocol to prevent laboratory acquired infections. So same thing. Right? So I think you have got some idea about the quality control in microbiology. I think you don't have to buy hard because you have experiences. Maybe not having in microbiology, right? But you have experiences in medical laboratory technology. So if you have experience in medical laboratory technology, actually you can write quality control questions. If you get quality control question, I think as experienced persons, you are lucky. Because you don't have to buy hard, you think logically and elaborate your answers. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Huh? Do you agree with me or not? Agree or not?
Agree with you, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I know that most of the people, they don't have recent experience in microbiology. It doesn't matter. But you know the process. Simple. Right. Okay. Before we winding up, any question? I will give you this presentation. Right? I will put to the group. I will put it to the group. Any question? Okay, Mr. Bogudu, if we don't have question, can we wind up?
Madam, past aspiration next week.
Which one? Pass. Oh yes, next week.
Past.
Yeah, past aspiration and sterilization.